And you were talking to us about his policy. You would like to see his policy with regards to addressing issues of the environment. If you could quickly wrap up on that so we can look at other issues that he can also address.
Yes. Under policy, we have policy for waste management right from the period of the inception of the Ministry of Environment. Policy that geared towards commercialization and privatization of municipal solid waste, towards revenue generation and employment opportunity for teaming Nigeria. And if you look at Lagos, when the current president was governor, he was the one that commercialized waste collection and disposal in Lagos by encouraging private sector to come into the sector of waste collection and disposal. And that area has been perfected for now. Let us now see the issue of policy where municipal solid waste will be used to generate energy. It's been done all over the world. Why is Nigeria one different? Because of political will. And I give you an example. Gas scope has been done in Olusosun by World Bank in 2008. There is an energy potential site based on the amount of municipal solid waste dumped at Olusosun. The same thing at Gosa dump site here in Abuja, which is the largest, one of the largest dump sites in Nigeria, about 99 hectares. Olusosun is about 41.2 hectares. Olusosun has been in existence for since 1995. And millions of tons of municipal solid waste, about 60 to 70% organic in nature. That is the raw material you need. You don't need any new waste. Already the material that are there is producing gas, and we are wasting the gas. That gas can be used to power electricity if we work on the gas. Lagos State, as I'm talking to you right now, could be using electricity that will be generated from waste already dumped in Olusosun to power its street lights. Why will Lagos State be spending close to 1 billion naira monthly to power street lights using fossil fuel? These are areas, these are policy I'm looking at. Again, policy on air pollution, water management, we need to go into it. So the minister should look into the policy that are there, how he's going to rejig it, how he's going to inject new thing in the environment. And I give you an example about new thing in the environment. Before we used to hear about 3 hours of recycling, of waste management. It's no longer 3 hours, it's now 5. The addition of 2 hours, which is reposition and reposition and repurpose. It's been added to reuse, recycling, and reuse, recycling, and the other one. So these are areas we need to look into. We need to move with the trend. All right. So on waste management. On gas flaring.
Yes, before we go into gas flaring, there are some other issues that, especially like flooding, for instance, that a lot of Nigerians are facing the impact already over the last years. Flooding is one thing that is one of our #1 natural disaster here, besides desertification in the north and deforestation here and there. For a city like Lagos is already seen as below the sea level. What do you think the minister can do to handle flooding? Every year we have this projection from NEMA telling us that there's going to be flooding, and a lot of states and a lot of local governments are going to be flooded. We've had that warning already this year, and people are told who live in low-plain areas to start moving and so on. What strategic or pragmatic or creative strategy do you think the minister should be able to come up with all the team that he's going to have to tackle this issue of perennial flooding?
Flooding, we have policy on flooding, right from inception of the Ministry of Environment. And I think that policy was taken from Vision 2010 report on the environment and ecology during the Abacha era, during the military era. That policy has helped us to let us know that the issue of flooding require participation of everybody, both government, individual, institution, at any level. Why will somebody will go and build on the floodplain area, an area that is being designated that this is floodplain area? That is part of responsibility of the citizen. Why will government pay a lip service to waste management? That is another policy program that is targeted at government, because you need to do proper waste management so that people will have a proper place to place their waste. Government will manage it for them, and at the same time, we will not have waste clogging our drainage channel. Why will government refuse to do river channelization, river taming? Because you know that that area is where the flood is going to, the excess water is going to go. Now we are craving for development. We are craving for industrialization. Every kilometer or 1 kilometer of road that you pave, you are inhibiting the penetration of water. And that is culminating to accumulation of water during rainy season. In front of your house, you will pave more than where you are supposed to build your house, say because you want to stabilize the soil. That soil is needed for penetration, for attenuation of water. Now, this area we need to look into. If we are doing development, and we didn't put into consideration that that development is impacting on our environment, so we need to do something. This is a strategy I think we should follow. Do not build on drainage channel. Listen to the prediction warning by authority. It's very important. I just saw on the news yesterday that Lagos State have given some area in Lagos to prepare for flooding. Right now, they should be evacuating them. They should not wait until the flooding occur. Now, where is the relief area? Where will they go? So somebody should do something. We don't need to wait until it happens before we now start giving them relief package, this and that. So the warning sign by NEMA is one of flood preventing measure that is allowed and approved by standard practice, that you must predict so that people will know that this area is under flood alert. So my own advice to the minister is to work with interagency like NEMA and other agencies that are in charge, that are saddled with responsibility of predicting flood, our climate change agenda in the area of flooding and flood management. So that's the only way I can say the minister should prepare itself, because there is a full department for flooding and erosion control in the Ministry of Environment. So again, our research development department in the ministry have been relegated. You see, every minister comes, instead of them to pay attention to research and development area, they are only interested in the procurement area. And the research and development department is the engine room of the ministry. So we need to do something, because it's at the research and development that they will come up with data, statistics that we are going to use to execute your project. So the project should be targeted towards meaningful impacts that will change the narrative of the environment that we are talking about. So my advice for the minister is to be proactive, come with his own agenda, marry with what is existing in the ministry, and we'll have it in a positive direction.
Right. Now, let's quickly go back to the matter of the green economy. There are reports that have said that there are huge opportunities for Nigeria to explore to grow the economy, and that Nigeria has a potential of about $250 billion that it can, get out of the green economy. And I'm wondering what some of these opportunities are that he can quickly, the minister designate can quickly begin to work on to build Nigeria's economy.
Yes. Thank you for that question. That is the new norm now in environmental management. The green economy attracts a lot of foreign funding, but it will not be given to the government direct. How does it work? African Development Bank have a climate change fund, which is targeted through private sector. And one of the projects that's qualified for that kind of green economy that we're talking about is that of the energy from waste. Another one, if Lagos State want to tap into that, I'm using Lagos State as an example because they have the infrastructure already. Procurement of new coaches for their blue rail and light rail could be from the Climate Change Fund, through the African Development Bank, through the United Nations Fund for Climate Change, through other multilateral agencies. So these are areas, because if we use, these are sustainable green economy projects. If you bring in more coaches, you are able to move people from one place to the other. You charge a token, and that money will be used to pay for the loan. Not that you will just collect climate change fund and be using it to build the road and build this that is not sustainable in nature, that will not be. You can even use it to build road for as long as you are going to tow the road. But at the same time, the climate change fund could be useful in agriculture. There is what we call ecological farming. Now, it's a new trend in farming, in agriculture. You use the manure, you use the waste solid, municipal solid waste rich in organic components to do organic fertilizer. And it has been confirmed, that farm produce from ecological farming is more nutrient, more of organic use for the body than the one you use with chemical. So I want to see Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Agri partnering together, using this fund to do composting in all the 36 states of the Federation. Composting can strive. Because the raw material for composting is our municipal solid waste that is about 60% rich in compost. So that's one area. That's one area that the multilateral funding agency that are custodian of this climate change fund will be looking at to fund the developing country. So we have a lot of potential in that area, in agric, in housing, in transportation, in fact, the tree plantation. There are some economic trees that you can start growing that will give you another product.
All right.
When you maybe like buy oil. So these are areas we want the minister to look into.
Right, Mr. Salau, we have to leave this conversation here. Our time is up. We must thank you, MD CEO at Mark Press West Africa Limited, as well as environmentalist Idowu Salau, for your time on the program.